Hello, everybody, and welcome to the CineChat podcast. My name is Declan McKinney. With me, as always, is my co-host Nick White.
Hello.
And as always, we're going to be going through all the latest film and television news, as well as going through our main topic for the week, as well as our always there Netflix section. So let's jump straight into the news. We've actually got news this week. This is amazing. It's quite a heavy news week, but we've got quite a lot of interesting topics. So I'm just going to bring this one up quickly and just get it out of the way. The Golden Globes happened. Now, the Golden Globes, we're not going to spend too much time on it, just because, there's not really that much to talk about in relation to what you guys would be interested in. I bring it up because I want to talk about a little man called Tommy Wiseau. I love the Golden Globes so much this year because it brought Tommy Wiseau full circle. He said about 15 years ago, he got to the Golden Globes and he said, screw it, I'm going to make my own movie. And now 15 years later, he made it to the Golden Globes, and it's just such a satisfying moment. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say, really.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, I think it's obviously one of those things, like I say, it's come full circle, and I think it's just so funny to see because it's very satire as well, like how
Oh, yeah.
how he's gone from being told he would be like amount to nothing to then having a film made about him being amount to nothing, and it's great.
It was just awesome to see him on stage with James Franco.
Mm.
And I'm so happy. I really was rooting for James Franco to win Best Actor in a comedy or musical, and he got it. So
Yeah,
I was happy about that.
Well deserved as well.
Oh, definitely. So this is the first real bit of news. I woke up to this news this morning. It was beautiful news to wake up to, as it broke in the very early hours of the morning. Marvel are finally going forward with a Black Widow solo film.
Long overdue.
It's about bloody time.
Yeah.
I mean, it only took them, 8 years to... because obviously we always talk about Marvel on this, and we always say how well they set up all the characters by giving them all their own solo films, but Black Widow and Hawkeye never got them, as they were introduced, Black Widow was introduced in Iron Man 2, and then they had Hawkeye in Thor, for some reason.
Yeah.
I remember before I ever watched Thor, I remember hearing Hawkeye was in it, and I was like, Hawkeye's in Thor? I was so confused. But then I didn't actually know at the time that Thor was actually mostly like a film that took place on Earth.
But it's going to be interesting to see what they do with this film as well. Obviously,
yeah,
with the full, I don't know, conclusion of Marvel as we know it with the Infinity War and the Infinity War sequel. Will the team be radically different to not include her, so then it'll go sort of back in time and explore her makeup, or is it going to be sort of starting the next phase, or is it not even planned for that? Is it going to be something way down the line? And I don't know, it's going to be interesting.
I have a feeling this has got to be Phase 4. This means now we have 3 films confirmed for Phase 4. We have Homecoming 2, or Spider-Man 2, whatever you want to call it, which is coming out after Avengers 4, and that is the first film of Phase 4.
Yes.
And then Guardians of the Galaxy 3 hasn't technically been officially confirmed, but 1, we know it's going to happen, and 2, James Gunn has said he's coming back to direct and write it.
Yeah.
And now we have Black Widow. I feel this has to be a prequel. I just don't see where they go with it. Do you remember back in Age of Ultron when all the characters had those flashbacks?
Yeah.
The dream sequences because of Scarlet Witch? I feel that what we saw there with Black Widow and the training, I feel the film will be set kind of before all of the MCU. And then we'll get flashbacks to that. I feel like maybe Marvel were that forward thinking back then, when they thought, oh, this is kind of like a backwards step for a Black Widow film down the line. But I feel it's definitely going to be a prequel. I think what's going to be interesting is, will Hawkeye show up? If Hawkeye isn't dead by that point, I know he's finished filming. Jeremy Renner has said he's finished filming Avengers 4.
Yeah.
And Avengers 4 is still very much in production in its filming. So could that mean he dies? Now he's gone, he dies halfway through? I don't know. Because Hawkeye seems to be going in a very interesting direction in the next couple of Avengers films. But I'm excited about this. And also, they've hired a screenwriter, which is Jacques Schaeffer. And I'm looking up her IMDb. She has got 3 writing credits. I haven't heard of any of these except for 1. So she's got Timer, which came out in 2009. And then she got a brilliant sounding film called Mr. Stash, which I'm going to look up later. And then she also wrote Olaf's Frozen Adventure, which is the little Frozen mini film.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it doesn't sound too promising, but you know what are you going to do? I mean,
I think the thing is with these Marvel films as well, what they've done so well is they've obviously pulled in big names, but they've also produced stars like
for,
obviously Tom Holland as Spider-Man. That was his sort of biggest breakthrough, I suppose. But then also Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. Don't forget, like that was, I would say, the turning point for him in Hollywood. So
yeah, I mean, Chris Pratt's probably one of the biggest stars that we have right now.
exactly, and I mean, yeah, he had roles before that. But I think that was the one that really enabled people to sort of associate him as being star-worthy, if you know what I mean. I don't know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, like he had like Parks and Rec before, and
Yeah,
he was kind of like a comedic actor. But then, yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy is what turned him into a proper movie star.
yeah.
Because after that, he got Jurassic World, which is one of the biggest films ever, and you know things like that. And obviously, he's part of the MCU, which is one of the biggest franchises in the world. So,
So I mean, like,
yeah,
I think with Marvel, with what they have produced in their universe so far, like, I have every faith for them that they are choosing the right people for the right project. So, yeah, this writer might not have produced anything major before, but if Marvel have hired her, she must be doing something right behind the scenes, you know?
yeah. So, yeah, are you excited about it? I'm pretty excited
Yeah,
about it.
definitely.
I think it'll be a very different film. I think I'm just surprised it's taken this long because I was convinced she was going to get a film in Phase 3 because I thought after Phase 2 with Captain America: The Winter Soldier, I thought for sure, but then it never happened.
I
And I
think,
guess they want to do more female-focused stuff now after Wonder Woman.
yeah,
In
I
kind of
suppose.
that's the one thing DC has on them. It's the one thing. I mean, they've got Captain Marvel coming up, and then they're going to do Black Widow. But yeah, it's the one thing they've got.
Actually, saying that, I think I am surprised it has taken this long for her to have
Yeah.
her own film.
So
But saying that, in the team up films, so like obviously in Avengers, in Civil War, in the other films that she has appeared in, she has still had quite a pivotal
oh yeah,
role, even though she's not been a title character. So I think I can understand why it's taken long when you look at the influence that she has already had, if that makes sense. I don't know.
yeah. Plus, I
Anyway,
mean, I think there was a lot of people saying that it might be a struggle getting Scarlett Johansson back. No, it won't. Scarlett Johansson will easily do this film. I mean, Scarlett Johansson, right? She's brilliant. She's really, really good. But she doesn't really get that many roles outside of Marvel because a lot of the ones she gets flop. I mean, if you remember that film that came out in 2014, Lucy, which was a pretty unique sounding film, and it was okay. It was decent,
I
but it wasn't.
thought there Lucy was a absolutely amazing film until it got to like the last act, I'd say. Then it just kind of lost itself, and I was like, this is daft.
I mean, I thought the trailers were really cool, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. And then like Ghost in the Shell, which we were just talking about before we started recording, like Ghost in the Shell's not a bad film. It's pretty good. It's decent enough, but that definitely flopped at the box office too.
Yeah.
But yeah, she'll definitely come back for this, no problem. So yeah, that's Black Widow. Our next bit of news, I'm actually very excited about this film now, and that is Venom.
Yeah.
We have had our first look at Venom. IGN announced last week that they said, "Oh, we're going to have our first look at Venom," and everyone was saying, "Oh, we're going to get a trailer." And I was just saying, "No, we're not going to get a trailer. It's only just started filming. Calm yourselves down." So we have had our first look at Venom, and it's literally just a picture of Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I think it looks good. Yeah, I think it looks really cool.
I mean, unfortunately, there's not much you can analyse from that picture because it's literally
No,
just
not at all.
him in a blue shirt, which could be him from any film that he's been in, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a notepad in his hand, and I believe that Eddie Brock is actually a reporter in this film, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's not a reporter in the comics, is he?
No, he's a scumbag, so...
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think that's interesting. I guess maybe they're trying to do a more hero aspect by making him a reporter. Because obviously that's kind of... A reporter's kind of like the go-to occupation for superheroes, it seems.
Literally.
Superman, Supergirl, they're all reporters, so yeah. But yeah, I think that's a cool idea. It's going to be an interesting. it'll give Eddie Brock a story outside of Venom.
Yeah.
And also, have you seen the clip? Not the clip, but they released like a thing from Brazil Comic Con where Tom Hardy sent a video message to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was talking about the film, and the director was there as well. He seems really passionate about it, Tom Hardy.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of those guys that can get passionate about anything because he's just that good an actor, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Hardy, he's amazing at everything he does, and
Yeah.
he always gives 100% in every single film he does. So, and he seemed really passionate about it. He seemed really excited about it, and he even addressed the audience directly, which I didn't expect him to do. But he literally said to them, "I'm going to do my very best to make this the best interpretation of Venom you could ever see." And I didn't expect him to say that, but fair play.
Yeah, like I say, he's clearly wanting to do well with this role, so
Yeah, I think it's because he knows, because a lot of actors are not stupid, and I feel like he knows that perhaps Sony aren't the best when it comes to their superhero properties. So he really wants to make sure that, if he's really good in it, that his base is covered because no one's going to blame him then, are they?
true.
So, and I think, although, I mean, I haven't been very kind to this film, to the idea of it, but now I'm actually kind of excited.
Yeah, like I say, it's going to just be interesting to see how it sort of portrays the character more than anything. But then I think the thing that everyone's going to be waiting for, I think myself included, is if Tom Holland's actually going to be in it or not, in any way, shape, or form.
Is this even in the MCU?
Well,
We
that's
don't
the
know.
thing. It's one of those ones where Amy Pascal was like, it's separate to the MCU, but it runs alongside it, and then that's when Kevin Feige just stared at her with just absolute ice
That
in his
interview's
veins.
hilarious.
Um, so that's the thing. God knows, it could be, it couldn't be. It just depends on what suits him.
I hope it is. To be honest, I don't think Tom Holland will be in it, but then it's kind of like that thing. If it is completely separate from the MCU, you can't have Venom without Spider-Man.
No,
It doesn't work. I mean,
exactly.
unless they completely change the origin, which it seems like they could be doing. Because, I mean, they've changed his occupation. He's now a reporter, so it seems like they are changing things.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't know.
but, yeah, I mean, obviously, we'll just have to wait and see when more details reveal themselves. Next bit of news. This came out, I believe, last night, but this was really weird. So Tim Miller is apparently, who is the director of Deadpool, the first Deadpool, he is apparently doing a Kitty Pryde film for Fox. Have you seen
Yeah,
this? That's weird.
weird. Yeah, weird.
That's just odd.
Um,
I don't understand because I don't understand one why you're doing a Kitty Pryde film. Out of all the X-Men, you go for Kitty Pryde,
yeah, it's an interesting property to go for, isn't it?
and also because of the whole Disney buying Fox thing. Is this in the MCU or is it separate? Like
Well,
it's
that's what
really weird.
like. That's my argument with Dark Phoenix that's coming out as well. Like, is this still obviously a separate bracket, or can Marvel now claim this? Because it's not Marvel Studios, is it either? That's
No, no,
so
no. It's Fox.
yeah. So they're still
I
going to be producing their own things as well as the MCU, and then obviously Marvel Studios can take whatever characters they want now to suit them. I don't know.
it's just so confusing. I don't understand what the point of this is. I mean, I can't see this going through. I really can't. I can't see this happening. I feel it will get cancelled. One thing I actually wanted to talk about as well is, do you think Disney are going to like just completely destroy Dark Phoenix? Because I don't. Because one, nobody wants Dark Phoenix. No one cares about it, and it's just it's not really that far into production. So if they wanted to can it now, they could. I mean, films like New Mutants, they can't really can because it's coming out in a couple of months. Deadpool 2, people actually want.
Yeah.
But Dark Phoenix, no one wants it, and it's just started filming. I feel that they could get rid of it if they wanted to.
Well, I'm not being funny, but with the X-Men films that come out over the last few years, I just can't get excited about them.
No, I
Like,
can't anymore.
as much as I love Marvel, I think we know about this because I always talk about
Oh
them
yes,
so much. But as much as I love Marvel, I, because of what Fox have done to their side of things, I just can't get excited really.
yeah,
Um,
burned me quite a bit.
mm, Literally, the best thing they've done is just Deadpool. Well, Logan as well, obviously, but Uh,
Eh.
that's just the only summary I can give it, really.
Yeah, that's a weird bit of news, but I thought it'd be interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
Next bit of news. This kind of excites me, but kind of worries me at the same time. Ridley Scott has ideas for a Blade Runner 3 script. Yeah, I mean, Blade Runner 2049. I said this, and I'm just going to stick by it. Is the best film I've ever seen in my life. It was my favorite film of 2017. It was the
Mhm.
best film of 2017, in my opinion. Um, I love the first Blade Runner too. I think they're both masterpieces. But Blade Runner 2049 was one of those really rare experiences where the sequel was better than the original, in my opinion. I don't know if I want a third Blade Runner now. Uh, I mean, what do you think? I think it's really weird, and I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I think it, mm, I don't know if I can't say it's rushing into it because it didn't
Oh no,
exactly do well. So it's not as if it's trying to make one for the sake of cashing in on it, I suppose.
true.
Excuse me, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I know Blade Runner 2049 cost. I can't remember who the studio was off the top of my head, but I know it cost them a lot of money
Yeah,
because the film. I think the film cost around 208. No, yeah, I think it's around 200 million. I could be completely off there. That was just a complete random estimate. Um, but I know obviously it didn't make that much money at
no,
all, and it cost them a lot because I mean it's an expensive film and it looks expensive.
but it was critically acclaimed
Oh yeah,
as being
completely.
like an incredible film. So I that's one thing I've never been able to understand. If a film is absolutely bigged up by critics, but how can it fail? Do you know what I mean? I just don't get it.
Yeah, I think it's just because I mean obviously the first Blade Runner wasn't exactly a hit when it came out, but
Well,
it
no,
did gain a following after all the years. And I thought when a Blade Runner sequel was coming out, I thought, yeah, that'll get quite a large audience, but it never did, and it never seemed to gain it. And like I say, it's weird because everybody said how amazing this film was. Me and you both as well. And I just find it incredibly weird. And I think that people didn't go see this film maybe because it was slightly mismarketed. I know that, like, I went to watch it with my dad, and I know he kind of went into it and he was like, "Oh yeah, I thought it was going to be a bit more action and a bit more sort of." And my dad's a bit more inexperienced in films. He didn't know what Blade Runner was. Um, so he thought, oh, with the title of Blade Runner, I thought it was going to be a bit more action heavy. But obviously, it's not a very action heavy film. It's very much dialogue and very slow paced. It's a very long film. I think that's also another factor is the runtime
yeah,
that may have put a lot of people off. Um, Even though I don't think the runtime was an issue personally, but I know for like general audience members, a long film can put them off. So I think there's plenty of different reasons why it flopped. It shouldn't have done, but it's the reality we live in, and so it's like you say, it's not exactly like Ridley Scott is rushing into it
no,
for money reasons. If he has an idea and it's a good idea and a good story to tell, then sure, I'll take it. Um, but if he's not confident in it, then I
then
can do
avoid it. Yeah,
I can do without. I've got my two Blade Runner movies that are both masterpieces. I can live with it.
because I controversial or not, but it doesn't need a third one, really.
No, it doesn't. That's what I
Um,
mean.
yeah, well,
Yeah. Um, so we'll move over to our favourite topic of DC. Got a couple of bits of DC news. One of them is the new studio head. They now have a new
yeah,
Kevin Feige-esque person in charge. His name is Walter Hamada, I believe.
Fevin Kaigi.
Yeah, and he comes from New Line, which New Line is obviously a studio who makes films, and they are known for making low budget horror films that actually end up making a lot of money. They're behind The Conjuring, and they're behind It, which is obviously It was a
Yeah,
huge success. And I brought this up in a video I'm working on right now for my new second channel, which I'm just going to plug, the British Critic. I'm doing a massive video about DC and the status they're at right now. And one thing I brought up was that, with this new person who they brought in who's kind of headlined all these horror franchises, is that they can use that skill to make these films a bit more low budget and then make a lot more money, because Justice League is the second most expensive film ever made.
Really?
Yeah, it's the second most expensive film. The only one more expensive is Pirates of the Caribbean 4.
Wow. I didn't know it was that expensive.
Yeah, it was over 300 million.
Jesus.
Pirates, and then I remember like Pirates 4 was like 310 million, something like that.
And it was so bad compared to how much money
Yeah,
they spent on it.
Yeah, I know. Are you talking about Justice League or Pirates? Or both?
If the cap fits, then wow.
Yeah,
Well, mainly Justice League, but Jesus.
Yeah, so it did cost. I think they've barely turned a profit, because I remember Justice League, I think it made 600 million worldwide, around there, which,
so it's doubled its money, but
yeah, but 300 million, that doesn't even include the marketing.
No,
which
that's
marketing is
production,
extremely expensive as well on its own. So on top of that, you've probably got around 450 million.
That is
maybe
mental.
So yeah, and the fact it only made 600 million, very worrying. So I can see why DC are kind of thinking, oh yeah, this guy, he can make a really low budget horror film like The Conjuring or It, and it will make a lot of money. Now, one thing DC need to realize is it doesn't matter how much money they make the films on. If they're not going to get the audience, you're just going to end up in the same position you're in.
I mean, it comes back at the end of the day to the age-old phrase, quality, not quantity, because you can throw as much money at it as you like, and it can still flop. So if you strip it down a bit, you restrict your budget to a certain amount, you know the parameters that you've got to work within then. So they know that they should be focusing on, I don't know, more action, more character development, as opposed to these big scenes that just look good, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, lowering the budget, I suppose, is not a bad thing whatsoever. If anything, it probably boosts the quality of actually putting together a decent film that makes sense instead of just a mishmash of awful.
Yeah. I mean, because obviously me and you, we both didn't really like Justice League that much. And like I say, it cost them so much money, and they've barely turned a profit, which is, I mean, it's unfortunate, but I mean, hopefully it kind of shows them they're doing it wrong if they haven't already learned that already.
Yeah.
But
they must.
This could be a good move. This could be a good move. I think DC, one thing they've needed is just a figurehead, a Kevin Feige, just to lead them and say, this is the plan, this is what we're doing. Because that's the problem. Every couple of months we get a new DC slate, and it's kind of, they don't even know what they're doing themselves.
Yeah.
And it makes them confused, which makes us confused. So it's just kind of, they need someone to say, right, this is what we're doing, this is our plan, this is what movies are happening, this is what is not happening anymore. Get rid of all of it, make it crystal clear, and I think that will be a good start. So I think it's good news. I hope it's good news.
Yeah.
And the other bit of DC news, this is just a completely random thing that kind of happened. Jeff Johns, who is, of course, a massive DC Comics writer, he was talking about that news about Walter Hamada, and he has now changed the name of the DCEU. It's now called the DCU.
That's original.
Exactly, I know. I mean, it was such a random thing. He just kind of put it on there on a tweet, and everyone kind of went crazy about it.
It's now the DC.
And apparently Warner Brothers said, oh, well, it was never called the DCEU, the fans just kind of called it. No, let's retcon that. You did say it was the DCEU. You came, because we were all calling it the DCCU originally.
I was just going to say, surely it should be the DCCU.
That's what we were all calling it, and then, because obviously that's very similar to Marvel, you all came out and said, no, it's the DCEU, and now Jeff Johns is saying the DCU, so the DC Universe. It's just, I mean, it's just a name at the end of the day, but it's just, the kind of the logic surrounding it kind of baffles me. It's just weird, but whatever. It doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't change anything. It's just a bit of weird news.
It kind of follows suit with how DC's production has gone so far. Anyway, it's just a mass ball of confusion. So
Yeah, just
don't
changing things all
you
the
just
time.
you just take it for what it is now. You don't get shocked by these sort of things anymore.
No, I literally every time there's like a DC film gone wrong or like there's just like trouble behind set or whatever, I'm always just like, oh yeah, there you go.
Here we go again.
Another day, another problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. That's all the news. End on a little weird one. So we're going to move into our main topic. Now we haven't got any reviews because, I mean, I gave Nick some instructions this week to go and watch some films, which he did not do.
I've failed miserably.
Exactly. So we have to change last minute. But this was a topic that I actually, because we were kind of discussing topics earlier today. This podcast is very last minute, as you can probably tell. But we were discussing topics, and then we were struggling to come up with one. And then I remembered one that I wanted to do a while back, or a couple of weeks ago, which was our most anticipated films of 2018, which most people are doing right now. So obviously we did our top 10 films of the year, or we did our best films of the year in the last podcast, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to follow the exact same format we did with that, where we're going to go through each month, and we've both picked a film for each month, and that is our most anticipated of that month, and that overall it's going to make our best films, most anticipated films of the year. So I'm going to let you start with January.
Yeah, so obviously we're about halfway
11
through
days.
January. Yeah, 11 days. I had to count then. Wow. Anyway, we're almost halfway through January. But my pick is for one that's coming out towards the end of the month. And it's probably one that might not be on your list, but it's Early Man. I'm really, really looking forward to that because I absolutely love Aardman stuff.
I do. I do.
I think, I don't know, there's just a certain level of, I suppose, charm with them more than anything. Yeah. And obviously they've got some big names in this one. They've got what?
Really big. I didn't notice that. Yeah, like Eddie Redmayne's like the main character in it. I was
Eddie
like, whoa.
Redmayne, Tom Hiddleston, Maisie
Tom
Williams
Hiddleston?
is. Yeah,
My God.
he's the main villain, I think.
Oh wow.
Maisie Williams, who plays Arya Stark in Game of Thrones, is in it as well. So yeah, I mean, quite different to the normal things because they've actually got some big people behind it, I suppose, more than anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, from what we've seen from the trailers, there's not. I think there's only been one trailer so far, hasn't there?
Yes.
I mean, it just looks funny. It just looks typical Hardman, and I'm just looking forward to see how they've gone about it. I suppose more than anything.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about that. I've always been a big fan of Aardman. I think, obviously these are the Wallace and Gromit guys.
Yeah.
Chicken Run. If you've ever seen Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, I think that film is absolutely brilliant. And also, one I want to bring up, speaking of Aardman, is the DreamWorks film Flushed Away. Have you ever seen it?
Yes.
That is one of the most underrated animated films of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's great.
So good. Like, it's so fun. I mean, it's very British. It's very much a British film.
Mm.
But Aardman is a British studio. And if you don't know what it is, it was basically DreamWorks teamed up with Aardman and they made a film with them. So, obviously, DreamWorks films have their own style and their own look with their animation, but this was an Aardman film through and through. Very much so. It was basically just DreamWorks gave them a bigger budget, basically. And it was an amazing film. I absolutely loved it as a kid. I actually rewatched it a couple of months ago on Netflix, and it's amazing. And that also had big names. Like, Hugh Jackman was the lead role. You had Kate Winslet. You had Andy Serkis, Bill Nighy, Sir Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. So, I mean, if that's anything to go off of, then I'm sure Early Man is going to be brilliant. And I think the trailers are great. So, yeah, I'm excited about that too.
Yeah.
My release actually comes out tomorrow here in the UK. I'm watching it tomorrow. And that is Darkest Hour. I love the look of this film. I love war films. I love Winston Churchill films, so we've actually had a fair few. It's a bit of a niche category, but yeah, we have had a few.
It's almost becoming his own genre, isn't it?
I know. We literally had one last year. I never got around to seeing it, but yeah, it did happen. And now we're getting another one, but this one is starring Gary Oldman as the man himself, with one of the most amazing prosthetic jobs I've ever seen in my life. It's just the way they made him look like Churchill is insane. Also, obviously, Gary Oldman is an amazing actor, so to see him taking on such a heroic and most famous English prime ministers is a real treat. Also, I've heard that this is a really good kind of companion piece with Dunkirk, because obviously they both take place around the same time.
Mm.
Also, this got Golden Globes attention, I believe. I think Gary Oldman got a Best Actor award. I know he won it. And then it's also getting like BAFTA attention as well. It's also got Lily James in it, who I absolutely love. Not only because I have a huge crush on her, but also because I think she's an amazing actress. You know, she was in Baby Driver, so come on.
Yeah.
She's also in Mamma Mia too, which I'm really weirdly excited for. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. I'm watching it tomorrow. Very, very close. The review will be up on the channel, probably on Saturday or something.
Mm.
So yeah, Darkest Hour. Pretty excited.
Cool. So February.
I have a feeling we're going to have very similar options here.
I don't think it's going to come as a massive shock or surprise. It's obviously
No,
going to be Black Panther. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm genuine. This is probably one of my most hyped Marvel films ever, but obviously behind Infinity War, and Spider-Man, and the list goes on. But
It
it looks unbelievable. Like
does.
it's the most different looking. I don't know. I think what I know. I keep always absolutely bigging up Marvel to no extent, but one thing they've absolutely been incredible at with this last year or this last phase, I suppose, they've been able to give every single film a distinction behind it.
Yeah.
Like instead of being like, I don't know, dark, gritty, set in a New York City-esque place, you've got these things taking places on different planets or like completely different, like dystopian settings more than anything. I don't know. It's just something really cool, and obviously the trailers look amazing. The music sounds awesome. You've got Andy Serkis again, who's amazing. And just the suits. How cool do the suits look?
Oh, yeah. The design work for the costumes and the makeup are absolutely incredible. Like Black Panther's suit, at sort of first glance, looks quite simple, but then when you look at all the intricate
Oh, it's
patterning,
so cool.
it's really cool. And like the suits are like, I love the look of the Dora Milaje.
Yeah.
They look incredible.
Like, I'm not being funny, but growing up, Black Panther was not exactly one of my top, I don't know, top go-to heroes because he was like very, yeah, so what? But since his introduction in Civil War and obviously seeing these trailers for his own film, he could easily be like one of the coolest, most badass heroes we've ever seen. Like, I'd go as far as to say that.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I think that a lot of like because this film tonally looks very different, but then it
mm,
still looks like it fits within the grander scheme of the MCU, which is a pretty amazing thing.
but I love how obviously Wakanda's a fictional African country, but like the city, the bit where it's like all almost like Tokyo-esque with all the neon
Yeah,
lights and stuff, with all the really futuristic technologies, but mixing that with, you know, dare I say, typical African culture as well. Just the complete. I'm going to sound like a right geek now, but like the complete juxtaposition of them.
yeah.
It's just it's. I just can't wait. It's going to be so different.
Yeah, I mean, I've been looking forward to this movie ever since, well, yeah, pretty much ever since Civil War.
Yeah.
We saw him for the first time, and just each trailer has just gotten better and better. And one thing I'm really excited about as well, this has got one of the best casts of a Marvel film I've ever seen. I mean,
True.
Chadwick Boseman, who I love because of he played James Brown in the Get On Up film biopic.
Mm.
He's Black Panther. Then you've got Michael B. Jordan, who's playing Eric Killmonger, who's the main villain of the film. He is apparently inspired heavily by Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's exciting. Daniel Kaluuya from Get Out is in it. Denai Jura, I think that's how you say her name, she's from The Walking Dead. She plays Michonne on The Walking Dead. She's like the leader of the Dora Milaje. Like, there's just so many cool cast members in this, and also the director Ryan Coogler,
Yeah.
such an amazing.
Well, don't forget Lupita Nyong'o as well as
Oh, look, that was the other one. Yeah, and Forrest Whitaker. Yeah,
Forrest
yeah.
Whitaker. Yeah, Like big names.
Very big names. Yeah, and
Excuse
Ryan
me.
Coogler, who is the director of the film, such a great choice. Like
Hmm?
he directed Creed, which was obviously the big revival of uh,
Excellent film.
yeah, and big revival of Rocky, and that also starred Michael B. Jordan. And
Hmm.
before that, he directed a film called Fruitvale Station, which is also absolutely fantastic, and again stars Michael B. Jordan. It seems like they're a bit of a pair then too.
Yeah, you find that though with some actors.
Yeah, it's like Spielberg and Tom Hanks, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're both extremely excited for this.
Mm.
It's just gonna be incredible, and I,
Come
I,
on.
I honestly would be surprised if it's better than Infinity War. Um, not that I'm trashing Infinity War in any way, but it's I don't know. I just feel like
That's
it's gonna be so different and unique and just cool, and I
yeah,
like it a
yeah.
lot.
Me too. Uh, Moving on to March. My choice is probably going to really throw you off, unless you've gone for the same one, which I wouldn't be surprised, but I might be surprised. I don't know. So I've decided to go for no hate, please. A Wrinkle in Time.
Ah, yeah,
Um, I love when Disney does things that aren't Disney.
yeah,
Like when they brought out Tomorrowland a couple of years ago.
mm,
Like I really, really enjoyed that film. Um, I know it wasn't obviously the best thing going, but I think it was just the fact that they were going away from these all singing, all dancing, family friendly, uh, princess and prince type things, and this one just looks like a really interesting concept. Again, with some big names in it.
mm,
Um, I'm just looking forward to see what it has to offer more than anything. I think I've chosen it over some of the other options purely because of how intrigued I am by it, as opposed to
yeah.
the other thing. So that's what I've tried to do with this list as well. But yeah, I've gone for that one.
I like that choice. I remember they showed the first trailer for that D23 last
Mm,
year,
yeah,
and I love that first trailer. Like, 'cause I have like this thing where I love it when trailers. It's very much a modern thing with trailers, but I love it when trailers take a song and remix it and do like a weird thing with it. And like they did "Sweet Dreams" by Eurythmics.
yeah,
Very cool version of the song. Like it a lot. Um, and that trailer's awesome. It just intrigued me so much. I remember I watched that trailer loads of times, just trying to decipher what the film actually was about.
yeah,
And yeah, big names in it. Chris Pine is in it. Oprah's in it, and then you've got like Michael Pena's in it as well,
yeah.
who I love. So yeah,
Reese Witherspoon as well.
Reese Witherspoon's in it. Yeah,
Yeah,
so big names. Yeah, I'm actually really excited about that too.
yeah. Mm.
But that's not what I've gone with. See, I chose this because I thought you would have gone for something else. Um, so I wanted to be different. So this film I don't actually think looks that great, but I think I'll enjoy it anyway. And that's Pacific Rim Uprising.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think the first Pacific Rim is really great. It was kind of like this film that kind of came out of nowhere and was kind of amazing. But my only reservation with this is Guillermo del Toro is not directing it, which he directed the first one.
Yeah.
So that's ever so slightly worrying. But based on the trailers and the marketing material, I kind of like the direction they're going with this. It's a bit more light-hearted, a bit more. The tone's a lot more light than the first one.
Mm.
Also, John Boyega is in the lead
Yeah,
role.
I was just going to say that. I think that's going to be quite a big thing for him as well.
Can't go wrong there. Scott Eastwood. I actually like Scott Eastwood a lot.
Yeah.
Um, so he's kind of the co-star there, and it's kind of like the way that the Jaegers have now become like this own operation. Like, have you seen like the John Boyega advert where he comes out, he's all like join the resistance or
Mm.
whatever? Quite a cool promo, and I quite like the marketing campaign for this. I think it's quite unique, and I think this film is it's not going to be great. But I think it'll be just a big fun movie. Go there, go to the cinema, watch it, have some fun, stuff popcorn in your face, and it'll be great. I feel that's what this film's going to be, and I like a good film like that every now and then.
Yeah.
I think it's just fun. So yeah, I went with that.
Just honourable mention. Did you think I was going to go for Tomb Raider by any chance?
Oh, I don't remember what it was. I'll look it up now. You do your next one.
Yeah. So
Our next one's going to be the same. As well.
yeah. I don't think there's any surprise here. Probably the biggest film of the 21st century.
Oh yes.
Probably, arguably, since the return of Star Wars. But again, something that has been part of cinematic history, I suppose, when you've got so many things leading into this, and of course we're talking about Marvel Avengers Infinity War.
And just before you start, the film I thought you were going to go for was Ready Player One.
Oh, sugar. Yeah.
That's what I thought you were going to go for.
God damn. Yeah. Shit. Okay. It's too late to retract, I've said it now.
Yeah.
Honourable mention goes to Ready Player One.
Move on.
Anyway, Infinity War.
Yes, Infinity War.
It's gonna be mental. I don't think there's not really much you can say about it because of just how much it melts everybody's minds just thinking of it.
Right.
But I think it's just gonna be ace.
It really is.
There's just it speaks for itself because
Yeah, we don't even have to say anything. Like it's just Infinity War, and that's just
even
what it is.
even just the title Infinity War just sounds epic.
Amazing. It just sounds like it's going to be the biggest film ever,
Yeah.
and it probably will be. It wouldn't surprise me at all if this is the biggest film of all time.
Nah.
It won't surprise me whatsoever.
Surely this is the most expensive film of all time. Surely.
Well,
Just budget, just staff wage wise.
Well, yeah. I mean, if Robert Downey Jr. is in it, that's like 50 million gone. He does get paid like 50 million a Marvel film.
Seriously.
Honestly, it's like 50 million, which is why I mean he has to die some point in these films because Marvel is not going to want to keep on paying those. But yeah, I think that Infinity War is going to be one of the biggest films of all time.
This film's going to make billions in the box office.
Oh, 2 billion easy.
Without
Easy.
doubt.
Marvel films, when they come out, they are an event, and especially Avengers films. And this particular one is the culmination of everything.
Because I'm telling you now, I'll be seeing it at least 3 times in the cinema.
Me too. I'll be going so many times.
Because I want to see it normally on midnight when it comes out. I'll be seeing it in IMAX, and I'll be seeing it again.
Because the first time we watch it, we're not going to be able to take everything in. It's just going to be like this thing. We're just going to be sat there we're just like staring at the screen with our mouths open going, oh my god. And then we have to kind of come back and be like, okay. Like I did that with Civil War. I remember I was so excited for Civil War. And I remember watching Civil War the first time. And Civil War is a complicated film. You can't take it. You have to watch Civil War a few times to actually understand everything that goes on. Because I remember I hated the villain of Civil War at first. But then you have to watch it a few times to. Yeah, he's really good. But you have to watch it a few times to actually understand. That's what he's doing. That's his plan. Because you don't quite get it at first. Because the first time you're just kind of focusing on the Civil War side of it, and you're like, oh my god, it's Spider-Man. But then Infinity War. Again, I don't know what to say about it. It's Infinity War. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Anyway, let's move on. We could probably talk a full episode about this easily.
Oh yeah, and we will do come April. Plus, one thing I love just before we move on, I love how we get Marvel films like 2 weeks before the US. It's just like it's a lovely thing because the US. I mean, if you're from the US and you're listening to this, you get loads of films before we do. You get like every film before, and I hate it when because you always see all the Americans on YouTube going, "Oh, the British, they're always getting the Marvel films like 2 weeks before us." You get everything before we do. Let us have this. Because I remember Thor Ragnarok. I remember when that came out in the UK, and it's still like 2 weeks to the US release, and everyone was raging. And I was just sat there at the cinema going, haha.
Yeah.
Because what's the release date of this? Is it like April the 24th or something?
I want to say it's the 26th of April, you know.
Yeah.
So the 24th or 26th, but then it comes out, is it the 4th of May?
Yeah, May the 4th or the 5th. So yeah.
Yeah, suck it. Anyway. May. I bet you can't guess what mine is. I think, if I've got the release date right. This is another thing. I'm not 100%. But I'm going to say Solo. A Star Wars story.
Yep, same.
Yeah. Again, unfortunately, I think this one's been written off before it's even got to it.
It's not been given a fair shot, really.
I'm very surprised that we're now midway through January and we've yet to see a trailer for a film that comes out in 4 months.
It's worrying. It is
worrying.
Because even though we're saying that we haven't really given it a fair shot, it is worrying the fact we haven't seen a trailer yet or anything.
Yeah, exactly. There's not been any leaks, which is fair enough anyway because Star Wars are doing really well at keeping a tight-knit thing, which is fine, which is good. More than anything, it's good. But there's been no promotional images of any of the casts in any of the casting characters. Sorry, apart from the one.
The one they released
Uh,
ages ago.
yeah, when they first started filming, it's like,
And
and the
that was when Phil Lord and Chris Miller were on set as well.
yes, exactly. And obviously things have changed a lot behind the scenes, and yeah, it just makes you think how is anything. Well, something must have gone drastically wrong for them to still be
Yeah,
scratching and shade. You know what I mean? I
I
don't know.
mean, rumor has it that Disney are expecting this to bomb. I can't see it bombing. I mean, a Han Solo movie. I mean, one, it's Star Wars, and two, it's Han Solo. Probably the most popular character of Star Wars ever. Um,
Mm,
I can't see it bombing, but obviously the quality of it could vary. I mean, I feel that the director change is worrying. I've also heard that Alden Ehrenreich, I think that's how you say it,
yeah.
cannot act. That was the words from the leak. Apparently, he cannot act, which is a bit worrying. I mean, he was in that film. He was in that Coen Brothers film a couple of years ago, Hail Caesar, which I haven't seen, but I heard he's actually quite good in it.
Yeah.
But I see. The thing is, I was when he was announced to play Han Solo, I was looking at it and I was going, "Don't see it, don't see it at all." It's just it was like when they announced Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg's play Lex Luthor in BVS. I was, don't see it at all. Didn't see it here, and I still don't see it now. And again, they're not helping themselves because they're not showing us anything.
Mm.
We haven't seen, and I mean, even though we got that photo a while back of the whole cast, and we saw him as Solo, we haven't seen a proper promotional image of him yet
No,
in
exactly.
full costume with full hair and makeup done. So, and the fact we haven't had a single trailer, not a teaser, not anything, very, very worrying indeed.
But you know what? My worry is the fact that obviously this film's about Han Solo. I can already picture the fact that Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian's probably going to be the main takeaway from that, just
Yeah,
because of how good an actor. Well,
yeah,
just how
'cause Donald
good
Glover's
he is.
great.
So I don't know, just concerning it. But
I mean, I'm still super excited about it because it's Star Wars, and I really want to see what they do with it. I think it's been really interesting. Apparently, according to Paul Bettany, it's supposed to be like a gangster film, which is
mm,
interesting.
I keep
I think,
forgetting that he's in it.
yeah, so do I. I remember like Mr. Sunday Movies brought this up on the Weekly Planet a couple weeks ago as well. But it's kind of like when he first came out with this and he said, "Oh yeah, it's like a gangster film." I was like, "Is he in the film?" I was just like, or is he just saying this? Is he just like?
Wait, what?
No, I haven't read the script. I'm just from my presumption, it's a gangster film.
Yeah.
But no, he is in it. He replaced Michael K. Williams, I think it was, because
Oh
they
right.
like reshot all of his scenes or something with Paul Bettany instead. But I think it'll be cool to see how he got the Falcon, how he met Chewie, how he met Lando, and maybe Jabba the Hutt. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but I don't know if they'll ever want to return to that character. But yeah, I'm still excited just because it's Star Wars, so
Yeah.
that's why we've gone for that.
Again, I don't think there'll be any surprise for what I've got down for June.
Oh,
Uh,
really? Okay.
Deadpool 2.
See, I didn't go for it.
You what?
I know I didn't because I knew you would, and I
Oh,
thought.
okay.
But again, I'm actually more excited for another film in June than Deadpool 2.
How
But
dare you?
but I will agree, Deadpool 2 looks amazing. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, again, we've not seen anything about this yet, which I'm
Well, we
not
got that one
too.
teaser, the really
Yeah.
funny one, the Bob Ross
Oh,
one.
the Bob Ross one. I was in tears.
Brilliant trailer.
Oh my god.
So good.
Oh fuck yeah, it's so funny. Um, but again, I'm not too concerned that we haven't seen anything about it. I've got faith in it because Ryan
Oh
Reynolds
yeah,
is great. And it's just gonna be great. Um, yeah, not much else to say. I think it's gonna be
yeah,
interesting as well because I think there's been talks or there've been rumours suggesting that this film could actually just rewrite the X-Men side of the franchise in general.
that'd be a brilliant idea.
Uh, it, it makes you wonder if they're actually going to do anything now that could just tie this all into the MCU. I think I highly doubt it now at this point. I think maybe leave that for Deadpool 3 if we get that, which I'm sure we will. Um,
I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past them just to like put something together quickly because Deadpool it's a pretty low budget thing. They could just literally just throw something together. I heard something, I think it was today, where it was just someone suggested that there'd be like a post-credit scene in Deadpool 2 where he literally walks through a gate to the Marvel universe, and it's like a physical gate, and like Kevin Feige's there, and he like hugs him or something. I think that it'd be absolutely brilliant if that happened.
To be fair, I think I've sort of, we've mentioned it before. I don't know if I've said it to you whilst we've done an episode, or if I've said it just to you in general. But I've got a lot of ideas for what I think they could do with Deadpool to
Oh
tie
yeah,
him
yeah, yeah,
into the MCU, and I think, yeah, like, even if he's not in Infinity War, which is definitely questionable at this point, just have him at the end. Credits
please,
have rolled,
please.
and he's just sat there as if he's been watching the film with you. He's like, "Oh, I wonder if I'll get in the next one." Something like that, and it will just be great.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and also Josh Brolin's playing Cable, which is really great. Excited about that a lot.
oh yeah, you could just have him just like it could be sat with Cable at the end of the film, just turns because how do you have time
Oh,
for both?
yeah, this is the point. That's actually a good point. I was going to bring this up. If Deadpool is now in the MCU, which he is, they have come out and said that,
Have
because
they? Have they definitely just flat out said that he is?
well, who was it? Was it Bob Iger from Disney? He came out and said because he was talking about the Disney, R-rated thing,
Yeah,
and he was because people have been worried about that, and he said no, if Deadpool's going to stay R-rated, he said that.
yeah.
So I mean that doesn't necessarily mean he's in the MCU, but
Hmm.
but if he is, what's going to happen with Josh Brolin? Because he's going to play Cable and then he's going to play Thanos.
I
Now,
mean,
unless Thanos dies, which obviously probably will happen in like Avengers 4, but yeah,
I think the saving grace is the one that Thanos doesn't really. I mean, obviously you could tell a little bit, but it's
yeah,
not really Josh Brolin because he's just an alien, isn't he? He's just a
yeah,
big,
yeah,
big blue dude. So you can probably get away with it.
yeah.
But it's a bit like Vin Diesel, I suppose. Obviously, Inhumans became a TV show, but he was supposed to be playing Black Bolt, but he was also a Groot. So it's like
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
I think they
I
could get away
I
with
wish
it.
they stuck with that. I really wish Inhumans would have stayed as a film,
Yeah.
just because the TV show was an absolute train wreck.
Hmm.
I stuck through it. I stuck with it as well. I watched every single episode. I don't know how I did it, but oh god, it's tragic.
You're a stronger man than me.
I don't know how I did it, but I did. Anyway, my choice for June is coming out right at the end, and it's Sicario 2 Soldado.
Ah, okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Sicario is amazing. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's the first one was directed by Denis Villeneuve, who I believe is the best director working today. He directed Blade Runner 2049 and
Yeah.
plethora of other fantastic films. And the first Sicario was a really surprise hit with me. It just kind of came out. It had an amazing cast. Had Emily Blunt in the lead role. Then you had Benicio del Toro, and you also had Josh Brolin. Um, and it was a film about kind of going after the Mexican cartel, and it was a very violent, very bloody film, but very real and very grounded. I've actually recently just picked up on Blu-ray, so I finally have it in my collection, which is nice.
Hmm.
Because I watched it on Netflix when it came out. I remember. But the sequel looks to have because Emily Blunt is actually not in the sequel, and it's focusing on kind of like a bromance between Benicio del Toro and Josh Brolin. Uh, and I don't mean hinting at a relationship. I just
No,
mean
I know what you mean.
just pure bromance, and kind of like a buddy cop thing. Plus, it seems like Benicio del Toro has moved up to the lead role here, which is nice. There's an absolutely. Have you seen the trailer for it?
Yeah, it looks great.
There's an amazing shot in the trailer where Benicio del Toro has a guy on the ground, and did you see the way he fires that gun?
Yeah.
Ultimate definition of badassery is just that
Badass.
quick. It's just that clip, bang. And I think that this film's going to be great. Even though Denis Villeneuve is not directing this, which is a huge shame, but whatever. I actually, based on the trailer, I think the direction looks fine. I just think this film's going to be great. Hopefully, it's better than the first, although that's it's debatable.
Mm.
But I'm still super excited about this. I'm glad we're getting a sequel, and I'm really, really looking forward to that one.
Yeah. Like I say, I must admit, I've never actually seen the first one.
What? It's on Netflix.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Add it to the list of everything else I've got to watch on Netflix.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so July, I've gone for one of the most anticipated sequels of all time.
Oh, I'm so glad you've gone for this.
Incredibles 2.
I've gone for Incredibles 2 as well.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when did the first one come out? Back in
2004.
2004. So 14 years, man. I was still in primary school. That is depressing. Um, yeah, I mean, we've not seen too much. Again, we've only seen a little teaser, haven't we? But
Yeah,
I can't wait to see what sort of direction this goes in. I am a little bit disappointed that, I mean, everything they've released so far suggests that it takes place straight after the first one.
that's weird to me.
Which, I mean, yeah, fine, whatever. But I would have liked to have seen them grow up in real life, you know.
Yeah,
Obviously how Jack is now as a moody teenager with all these
yeah, yeah.
powers and that kind of thing. I think that would have been great.
Also, isn't it going to be weird? Because, like, I mean, obviously voices don't change that much, but like, surely, like Dash, for example, like,
Mm,
surely his voice is going to
well,
be.
it's like what they did with Nemo in Finding Dory, isn't it? Like, just get someone that sounds like it.
Yeah, I guess so.
I know what you mean, though. It's strange. Unless part of me thinks that it might just be a red herring and they're just doing it for like the first 10 minutes and then it'll just pan and say 10 years later or whatever.
I think that'd be great. I actually think that'd probably be better.
I would
Um,
like that.
but yeah, I'd like that too. And I
I
feel
doubt
that
it.
also Sam Jackson is coming back as Frozone. Fantastic.
I've
If he
heard it.
if he doesn't say "Where is my super suit" in the sequel, I'm going to
Where
be
is
bitterly
my
disappointed.
super suit?
He just has to do it as like an unironic joke because I'll be bitterly disappointed if he doesn't, or like just something that's equally as good. Also, I believe it is Brad Bird coming back to direct.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Oh,
brilliant,
cool.
great. I think Brad Bird, he's so good as a director. Like he directed Tomorrowland, which we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
He obviously directed The Incredibles. He directed Ratatouille,
Hmm.
which is another great Pixar film. He also directed Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol. So he's a great director, Brad Bird. So I'm really glad he's coming back for that. I think it'd be just interesting to see how these characters, continue on because we
Yeah.
haven't seen them in so long. This is probably the sequel to a Pixar film people have wanted, for
The
ages. And people,
most.
yeah, because people are complaining, oh, we've had three Cars films or whatever. But I mean, obviously, if you know me, I have a very personal spot in my heart for the Cars films because Cars was like the film of my childhood. That was the film I grew up with.
Hmm.
But I can see the frustration. We've had three Toy Story movies, we've had three Cars movies, we've had two Monsters films. So it's kind of the sequel to Incredibles. Where is it? I'm still waiting for the sequel on Wall-E as well.
Yeah, that's true.
That'd be nice. But we're finally getting it, and it's happening soon.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to August.
Very similar. I have a feeling it's
there's a common theme
it
going
really
here.
is.
Um, funnily enough, it's another Marvel film,
Yeah, it is.
and it's Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah, I think Ant-Man is one of those films in the MCU that, for all the, I don't want to say wrong reasons, but it always gets overlooked, and to me,
Yeah.
I forget about it. Not intentionally. I just like, oh yeah, there's Ant-Man, and it was. I mean, it was a strange choice to give him a solo film out of all the sort of properties and
It
characters
came
that.
out in a weird point in the timeline too, because it came out in between two of like the biggest Marvel films. It
Yeah,
came out
exactly.
after Age of Ultron and then before Civil War. It's like a
Yeah.
weird place to put it.
And obviously, I mean, it had its problems. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course it did, but it was also really good. Like as origin stories go, it was actually really, really good.
yeah, it was really funny,
Um,
quirky, nice, different.
it was yeah, just different more than anything. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this one goes. But also, by all accounts, the Wasp is supposed to have quite a big introduction or role in Infinity War. So
Be interesting
um,
to see that. Yeah.
yeah, but again, yeah, just looking forward to seeing how this one goes.
I mean, obviously, we don't really know what the Wasp's role is in Infinity War yet, but it depends how much they'll actually show her. Because I don't think Ant-Man's actually in Infinity War that much. I think because he wasn't on set that much. I know he's
Hmm.
filming Avengers 4 right now, and I feel he's going to have a lot more of a substantial role there. But it's because they don't really want to showcase the Wasp too much.
But yeah, true.
But, I mean, yeah, whatever. And also, with Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think there's so many cool elements. They're introducing the multiverse, apparently, which is, like, amazing. That opens up
That's
so many opportunities.
yeah.
That's huge.
Maybe that's where we'll see Deadpool.
Oh, yes.
That would work though.
It would. Yeah.
Deadpool and Ant-Man would actually work so well.
And I think Lawrence Fishburne is in it, and he's playing Goliath. Am I
Oh,
right in that? I
I don't know.
I swear I heard that like a few weeks ago because I'm pretty sure Lawrence Fishburne's in the movie and he's playing Goliath. I seem to remember that. Which is a bit late. He could have showed up a bit earlier and died in Civil War, but hey, uh, like he did in the comic. Um, but yeah, I also think Michael Pena is coming back. Brilliant. We need another one of those scenes, one of those like
Yeah,
retract scenes. I think that'd be brilliant.
that was awesome.
The reason I love that in the first film is they do it once and you're like, that was amazing. I want to see that again, and then do another one like later on, and they stopped it after the second one, and I was really happy about that because it's like, okay, I've seen it twice now. That's good. It's perfect. I don't need to see it again. If they would have done it again, I think it would have been a forced joke.
Yeah,
So I really like the fact they just stuck it with two. That was nice. Um, but yeah, also if this has a better villain than Yellow Jacket, that'd be good.
mm.
It'd be interesting to see what Hank Pym's up to. Obviously, Michael Douglas has been in the spotlight over the past couple of days, but we won't dwell on that. Uh, but yeah, I think this will be a very unique film. But again, kind of similar to the first Ant-Man. Out of all the films in Phase 3, this is the one that's always been swept aside. People
Yeah,
don't seem to really remember this one's coming out. Um, so it'll be interesting to see how it does. But I'm still pretty excited about it.
yeah, definitely.
October.
Yeah, no September.
Oh, sugar! I've messed out. I've missed out on
Have
one.
you missed out a day?
Right,
Come
you
on.
go. I'll go find a film.
Yeah, to be fair, there wasn't much in September.
Is there nothing? Did I just like
No,
completely skim past it? I don't know how I've done
potentially.
this.
I almost skipped past it. To be fair, so I ended up going for Johnny English 3, um, just because I love the other two, and Rowan Atkinson is an absolute national treasure. Um, uh, Again, we've not seen anything of this film yet, but obviously they're making a third one, so it's going to be good and it's going to be funny. It's going to be great. Have you seen the other Johnny Englishes before?
I actually haven't,
No, they're
which
really funny.
is right. I know. I remember I nearly watched. Is it the last one, Johnny English Reborn? I remember I
Yeah,
nearly watched that one, but I didn't in the end.
the first one's a lot. Well, yeah, so the first one's a lot better, but it's really really funny. I
Yeah.
can't wait for the third one.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Rowan Atkinson. Like, I love
Yeah,
Mr. Bean is just an absolute classic of a character, and also Blackadder. Um, so yeah, I think that will definitely be a highlight. I'll definitely have to go watch that. I'm looking at September, and I honestly can't find anything. I'm on the
no,
IMDb thing.
yeah, I could say that's what I was on. There
There's
wasn't.
what I found one film. There's one film on the list called Alpha, and I saw the trailer for this at the cinema. I don't remember what film. I think it was Jumanji I was watching, and it showed the trailer for it, and it doesn't look good. So you know what? September, I'm just going to skip it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. All right, October. I think it's potentially we might be on the same tracks again, but we spoke about it earlier, and I'm going to say Venom.
Yeah, yeah, I went with Venom.
Venom, Venom, Venom.
Like I said,
Um,
as of today, I'm very excited for this film.
yeah, like I said, it's just going to be an interesting. Obviously, for the points that you mentioned earlier, it's going to just be interesting to see the sort of direction that they go with this. Obviously, because they've made a lot of changes to the character Eddie Brock, and obviously, yeah, and obviously see if they do incorporate it into the MCU in any way, shape, or form. But one thing, sorry, this is going off on a tangent now. But Disney and Marvel just seem to be throwing money at everything. Like they've just got an unlimited pot somewhere. So why can't they just buy Spider-Man? Like, surely it'll be cheaper than just buying Sony. No, is that not
Depends.
how
It depends.
contracts work?
It depends if it. Yeah, it depends if it works like that. It depends if they can do that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how these things work, but
No,
I mean, maybe. But again, I don't know if it works like that.
because if they do, they could just keep making Spider-Man: Homecoming sequels, and it'll be great,
Yeah, I guess so.
like forever.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh well. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, Venom.
yeah. I'm very excited for Venom too. As of today, I'm very excited for Venom. Like I said earlier, I was not excited for this film just because it was Sony, and I just
Mm.
feel it was kind of a weird spin-off to do without Spider-Man potentially. Uh, but if they are changing the origin, which they probably are, because like you say, they're making a lot of changes, and if they make it make sense in its own thing, because I'm not really somebody who gets super angry when they change things. Like the Iron Man 3 Mandarin thing didn't bother me at all. Like I actually thought that was really clever what they did.
Mm.
I know that's a controversial opinion, but I actually found that really quite good for the film. So if they change it and it makes sense, then fine. And Tom Hardy will kill it in the role. If anything, this film will have a great portrayal by Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see who the villain is because I mean it's rumored to be Carnage, but I kind of hope it isn't because if it is Carnage, I can imagine the final fight being like the final fight from the Incredible Hulk, where it's just two big CGI
Yeah,
things.
true.
Yeah, it'd be a bit yeah. But yeah, I'm interested. Like I said, interested to see where they go, and I really want to see it in action. So yeah,
Yeah. That's why I think it's crying out for something like Spider-Man if they can't even get Spider-Man into it, just because otherwise it's just going to be two CGI characters slogging shit out of each other. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
it's just not going to be. Yeah. Anyway, um, November. Again, I don't know if we would have gone for the same one for a change, but I've gone for Fantastic Beasts. Uh,
I
whatever the sequel's
was,
called.
I have it on my list. I have it as my November choice. But as I was on IMDb, I found something else that I
Hmm.
forgot was coming out, and I'm going to go with that instead because I
Okay.
think you'll like it. Trust me, you'll like it. It's good.
All right. But yeah, I mean, I was very skeptical when I first heard about Fantastic. Well, this is going back when the first one was being made. Because obviously Harry Potter at the time was like still is a massive franchise. And to be doing some prequels, it's like a bit of an interesting choice, I suppose. But it worked really well, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Um, and
I love the first one.
I think there were parts that sort of struggled with the pacing a little bit, but there were some jokes and some funny bits that just hit, and when they hit, I was absolutely creasing. Um, and yeah, I mean, looking forward to the sequel. I think obviously Johnny Depp's going to get given more than just 15 seconds of screen time. Um, so yeah, looking forward to it. Should be good.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been afraid to admit that I'm not the biggest fan of Harry Potter.
Mm.
Um, I mean, I've never really given it a true shot. I own every single film on Blu-ray because I bought the box set and I thought, right, let's go watch these things. And then I watched the first one, got about halfway through, and I thought I can't do this anymore because let's be honest, the first few are kids' films. Let's just be real, they are.
Yeah.
And I found it hard to watch them. So my friend, who's a big Harry Potter fan, has said, "Okay, go to the fourth one." So I went to Goblet of Fire, got about halfway through that again, and I thought, can't really do this. And I've seen all of Deathly Hallows Part Two because I watched it the night before I saw Fantastic Beasts. But I love Fantastic Beasts. I really liked it. I
Mm.
think maybe it's just because it was kind of like its own separate thing, and I didn't feel like I was taking in all this world at once, and it was a prequel and blah blah blah. But I liked all the elements it played with. I really like the. I think it does slightly deteriorate as it goes on, but I really like the opening. Well, not the opening, but the bank scene where there's that that one beast who's like stealing all the money and the
Mm.
gold and stuff. I thought that was adorable. And also the whole idea with like Newt Scamander going into the briefcase and it's just like a world inside there was like
Yeah,
amazing.
that's cool.
And that was really
Yeah.
like a beautiful looking scene. But anyway, my one, I've literally just seen this and I forgot. I completely forgot about it. And you're gonna love this. Holmes and Watson. Now, this is a
Mm.
Sherlock Holmes film. Wait, but it's a comedy with Will Ferrell and John C. Riley.
No.
Now you're interested.
Is that
This is real.
seriously?
This is true. It's a comedic take on Sherlock Holmes with Will Ferrell and John C. Riley. It's also got Ray Fiennes, and I was looking through the cast on IMDb. Rob Brydon's in it. I am
No.
so excited for this now. This is a brilliant
It
idea.
actually is. I'm just looking at it now. You're not actually lying.
I can't say much about it
Oh
because
my
we don't really
god.
know anything about it, but it's got
Hugh
Will
Laurie's in
Ferrell,
it as well.
Hugh Laurie's in it, yeah. Will Ferrell, John C. Riley, Hugh Laurie, Rob Brydon, who I love.
Yeah.
Just this is going to be amazing, and it's just. I mean, I love Will Ferrell. He is a master of comedy. I mean, yeah, he's had a few flops, like The House that came out last year wasn't great, but I feel that Step Brothers, which is one of
Oh,
Will
it's the
Ferrell's
best.
best films,
Yeah.
it's great. he did that with John C. Riley. Them two together is a brilliant
No.
combination. And I just feel this film is going to be it's going to be one of those films that perhaps may not even be that great, but it'll be one that like it's a typical type of film that me and Nick absolutely love. That's kind of like in our guilty pleasure sort of thing.
Mm.
And if Rob Brydon's in it, then I will watch it because I absolutely love Rob Brydon from his Gavin and Stacey days.
Yeah.
Um,
Have you
yeah,
seen the picture of it? Have you seen any of the pictures from when they've been filming?
yeah. It's the two of them. Yeah, just
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
This is
no
such a
way.
brilliant idea.
Oh,
I'm so excited for this.
I
This is
can't
going to
wait
be
now.
brilliant. So there you go. That's why I didn't go with Fantastic Beasts.
Oh, that's it. Um. Ah. Sorry, going back a couple of months. I think I've found your choice for September because it is now mine, but I've a bit
Oh,
too late now.
okay.
Robin Hood
Eh,
with
well,
Taron Egerton.
why is there only got one film on the IMDb thing? Because I'm like looking at it
Yeah, I
now.
don't
There's
know.
only one,
Because
and it doesn't look that good. Because I've seen the trailer and it didn't really do anything for me.
what, for Robin Hood?
No, for the
Oh, sorry.
film, the Alpha film. Sorry,
Ah, right, yeah.
but I mean, sure, I'll go for Robin Hood. Why not? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking forward to it 'cause it's got Taron Egerton in
Taron
it,
Egerton.
so.
Yeah, it's also got Jamie Foxx as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a look at the set photos, like the promotional images they've released from the set, and I feel like it does look quite cool. But
I'm
I do get
sure.
heavy King Arthur vibes from it,
Yeah.
very heavy King Arthur vibes, and I
You see,
don't love that film.
I have no idea where I read it from, but I'm sure that when this was first announced that Taron Egerton was going to be Robin Hood, I'm sure the synopsis for it was that it was going to be a modern day or Robin Hood set but set in the modern day. I mean, it's clearly not, and I don't know where I've got that from, but
I don't know. I've never really focused on this film too much because I never really cared about it. The only thing, like I say, the only thing that makes
no,
me care is the fact it's Taron Egerton, and I will
yeah,
watch it. And like I say, I think those photos they released are quite cool. Jamie Foxx is a great screen presence too, so that'll add to it.
yeah,
Um, but I get very heavy King Arthur vibes from the King Arthur film that came out last year, the Guy Ritchie
yeah,
one, and I didn't love that film. I found it a bit. It's fine, but it's just a bit bland, and there's really not that much to it. And after I watched it, I was kind of like, yeah, I never really need to see that again ever.
mm,
Um, like I say, it was a bit weird as well because like David Beckham was in it. It was a bit like what.
yeah,
Um, but one thing I will say is Robin Hood as a character does really intrigue me because I am an archer myself. In terms of
mm,
sports, most people they do football or whatever, they do rugby. I do archery, and also obviously I bring up these shows as I always do. Arrow, Green Arrow is a very
yeah,
Robin Hood inspired character. Like even like one of the big jokes in Arrow is they always call him Robin Hood. Um, so the Green Arrow is a very Robin Hood inspired character. So because of that, I love that character so much, and also because my love for archery as a sport as well. I've always
mm,
had kind of bow and arrows kind of a thing. So that element of it will always excite me. And yeah, Taron Egerton in the lead role can't go wrong there. So yeah,
yeah.
sure,
Anyway,
I'll go for that by September. Yeah, sure, why not?
yeah. Anyway, right, going
Wait,
back to
what's the actual date?
it. All I can see on IMDb is just September 2018.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah, well. Anyway, yeah, moving back on to December. There
final
were a
month.
couple of yeah, there were a couple of good choices on there, but I ended up going for Aquaman.
Thought you might.
As much as here we go. As much as we slate the DCU or DCCU or DCEU or EADC, CDC, whatever you want to call it, um, the one thing that they've done, I'm not going to say they've done right. The one thing they're doing better is the solo films,
Yeah.
um, especially obviously Wonder Woman. Uh, so I think, well, I'm a big fan of Jason Momoa anyway. I think he's an absolute badass. And from what we saw in Justice League, like he didn't butcher the character. He just kind of, I think, a lot of people, I imagine me and you share the same some opinion that you wanted more from him.
Yeah, I quite liked him. Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah.
great.
So obviously the fact that he is getting his own film is going to be interesting. And well, yeah. So yeah, that's that.
Well, I mean, we haven't really seen anything from it, so
No,
it's kind of difficult to speculate. I mean, I feel
but
that it'll be one of the more beautiful looking DC films. I think that it's going to be very uniquely shot because of all the underwater stuff. Also, James Wan is directing it, which is a great choice. He's shown, not only is he, I mean, obviously he's like a modern horror legend, but also he's shown how diverse he is. He directed obviously Fast and Furious 7, which is probably, I think it's one of the biggest films ever, and that film was really well directed. So yeah, he's a very diverse director clearly, and I feel this will add quite a lot to it. So yeah, and
but
Jason
again,
Momoa. So
yeah. But unfortunately, it's kind of fallen under the trap that
it's DC,
it's DC. Yeah, and I
and it could
can't.
fail. Anything could go wrong at any moment.
Yeah, surprised that would be scrapped, but
Yeah, probably. To be fair, this one hasn't had any reports of it being bad or problems behind set or anything. It's kind of been in the clear because even Wonder Woman, like when Wonder Woman was coming out before it came out, there were just hundreds of reports saying it was going to be terrible. Did you ever read any of those? Like there was like
yeah,
so many reports that came out said, "Oh, this film is awful." People on set saying it's terrible. Like the press who went on set said it was just not good. But then it's great. So this film has been sort of very consistent in terms of how it's been getting along. So that could be a good sign. So yeah, I think it's definitely going to be an interesting one for sure.
yeah.
But I didn't go for Aquaman. Uh, I'm fully prepared for the hate, and I'm going to end on the hate here. I went for Bumblebee.
Oh, of course you would.
I mean, obviously, I've said this so many times on this podcast. I bloody love those Transformers films. They're my ultimate guilty pleasures. I'm fully aware that they're terrible, but I love them. And but the thing is, Bumblebee's interesting because it's kind of their first solo film because they're kind of trying to do their own cinematic universe with the Transformers films, which is obviously just a brilliant idea. But Michael Bay is not directing this one. The director is Travis Knight, who directed the great animated film that came out, I believe, in 2016, Kubo and the Two Strings.
Mm.
He directed that. Also, this is a low-budget Transformers film. This is on $80 million, which obviously, at face value, sounds like a lot of money, but for a Transformers film, it's not. Because I believe The Last Night was around 150 million. Probably a lot more than that, actually.
Yeah.
Because I know The Last Night was like the most expensive of them, and it made the least money. But that means there's actually only 4 Transformers in this film. They've said that. Also, this is set in the 80s. It's a prequel. We get to see Bumblebee kind of become the hero he is. He's actually the Volkswagen Beetle in this one, finally.
That's nice, yeah.
I mean, to be honest, the Transformers films did kind of make me fall in love with the Chevrolet Camaro as a car because of Bumblebee, but it's going to be really great to see him as the Bug. Also, Haley Steinfeld is the main character who I actually quite like. I think she's quite good. I like her as a singer, and I've seen her in Pitch Perfect 3 very recently. I thought she was very good in it. So that's sure. Also, John Cena's in it, which, I mean, if Daddy's Home 2 is anything to go off of, I thought he was brilliant in that. So yeah, sure. And yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting just to see how this one turns out because of, everything that happened. It's a low-budget Transformers film. Michael Bay hasn't got his fingers anywhere near it. So I'm more interested than anything else. Just waiting to see a trailer, really, because it's all filming now. So, yeah, I went with Bumblebee, obviously. So yeah, don't hate me.
No, fair enough. I'll let you.
Thank you so much. So they were our most anticipated films of the year. We had a lot of similar choices, but I thought that would be the case. Just because, obviously, when you kind of look ahead at the year, you're not going to look at like smaller like award films because you don't get like hyped for those. You look at them and you think, oh yeah, I mean they look good, but I'm not like super hyped. Whereas you do get super hyped for the blockbusters. It's just the way it is. So that's why we had a lot of similar choices.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to our Netflix section. We've got a few things. One thing I want to announce for the Netflix section is I finally started watching Stranger Things. You can clap me if you want. I feel that, yeah, I know everyone listening to this is clapping me. I finally started watching it, and let me tell you, it is bloody brilliant. I don't know why I waited so long. I'm on season 2 now. I need to watch episode 3 tonight. Um, but yeah, I absolutely love it. I think it's brilliant. Dustin is just the best character ever. I think he's just. I mean, not only is he adorable, but I think he's brilliant. Because one thing that worried me about Stranger Things before it came out, I mean, after it came out, it didn't worry me just because of what people said. But the idea of kids being the main character worried me.
Mm.
But these kids are such good actors. They're so good, and not only are they
Yeah,
so
they
good,
really
they've got
are.
such good chemistry, and they're so funny. Like they're so genuinely funny. Um, Especially, and also it's set in the 80s, so it's got a lot of 80s music and
Yeah,
80s nostalgia, which is really fun.
yeah,
Like the episode, I watched season 2, episode 2 last night, which was like the Ghostbusters episode, and like
yeah.
they
It's
just have the
great, isn't it?
Ghostbusters theme, and they're all dressed up in the costumes. It was a brilliant episode. Um, so yeah, I'm loving it. I'm gonna try and get it finished as soon as possible so I can move on to the next thing on my Netflix list. But yeah, I love it, and I'm already super excited for season 3. So yeah. The next one, Black Mirror season 4 came out last week on Friday. Um, you've started watching it, I believe, haven't you?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
not season 4. Only just started watching Black Mirror in general.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Um,
yeah, I didn't make that clear, but yeah.
isn't I mean I haven't seen Black Mirror, but I've been speaking to one of my bosses actually, because he is watching it at the moment. But I
Mm.
believe that every episode of Black Mirror is kind of standalone.
Yeah, so my takeaway from it is that each episode is its own story,
Yeah.
and it's basically telling its own. I don't know. It's almost like a social commentary, but told in like a different way. Um, and
It's
it's
dark, isn't
also very, and it's kind of like showing what life could be like if we lived by certain rules, kind of thing. So in the first season alone, bearing in mind the first season came out back in 2011, I think. Um, the very first episode was about a member of the royal family that had been kidnapped, um, and the only way that the member would be released would be if the Prime Minister went on public TV, all frequencies, all channels, and had sexual intercourse with a pig. Right?
it?
Bearing in mind that came out in 2011, and then what came out about David Cameron,
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. I was like,
like
that's very ironic.
2 or 3 years later, it's like, well, no, 2 or 3 years ago, sorry. That is crazy. But then, this is the weirdest thing about it, right? In that episode, this is, again, me picking up on things that I don't think they were ever intended to be like that. But this might be a bit of a spoiler, but whatever. One of the solutions that they try to come up with is having an actor partake in the act, but using visual effects to superimpose the Prime Minister's head onto the actor. And one of the Prime Minister's aides is walking down the corridor with this guy who they've brought in to do these visual effects, and it's like, oh, this guy's great. He worked on that HBO sci-fi show about the cowboys and the robots. He's talking about Westworld, and that was 6 years before Westworld was on TV.
Oh, that's creepy.
Stuff like that
It's like when The
really,
Simpsons predict stuff. It's horrible.
yeah, stuff like that really throws me off, and it's like, how? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Um,
creepy.
but honestly, it's really, really good. The best episode I've seen um, was one that featured, I can't remember the actor's name, the guy from Get Out.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
him, yeah, he was in it in one of the episodes, and it basically was like in this world where you get up every day, you all live in the same type of room. You get up, you exercise, and when you exercise, you get these credits instead of currency. So the more you work out, the more credits you get, which means you can buy, I don't know, slightly better food, or you can buy better things to upgrade your living space, kind of thing. It's really, really strange, and it's really hard to explain, but it really does make you think, and it's really, really good for that. And I know my sister's just started watching the fourth series, and she cannot stop talking about it. And I'm like, I'll catch up. Stop. Shut up. I can't. Yeah, I can't recommend it enough. It's really, really dark, but really good as well. Oh, there's some
I love
big
dark stuff.
actors in it
I
as
love
well.
like stuff that's like, yeah, Daniel Kaluuya is great.
Yeah, but also in the third episode, I can't remember the actor's name, but he's been in bloody all sorts over the last few years. Uh, the guy that played Vincent Von Doom in the most recent Fantastic Four.
Phoebe Campbell.
That's him. Wow, you're good. Him, yeah.
I am very good at.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot his name. He was in it as well as Jodie Whittaker. They were in the same episode together. Um, I've also seen a preview for the episode I'm about to watch. It's got Domhnall Gleeson in.
Oh yeah,
Um, and no doubt there'll be more people, but that's just some of the names I'm reeling off so far. But yeah, check it out.
cool. Just before we move on, I'm just checking my phone, and actually we'll do this afterwards. But I think we need to discuss some more news. It's just come out, so
Breaking.
we'll circle back around. But so you want to check your phone just while I talk about this, so you can kind of you'll
Yeah.
probably know what I'm talking about when it's gone on Twitter. But Netflix released a new trailer a few hours ago for their new series Altered Carbon, which we've both checked out. And this is, obviously we were talking earlier before we started recording that Netflix are just knocking it out of the park with all these series to come out with. And Altered Carbon seems to be like a new one that they're pushing now. Stars Joel Kinnaman, and it's kind of like a cross between Ghost in the Shell and Blade Runner. I still don't really understand what it's about. It seems to be like, well, very much Ghost in the Shell in the sense that the souls of people are kind of put into different bodies,
Yeah.
which is very much a Ghost in the Shell idea. It's obviously where they got it from. And I guess Joel Kinnaman's character is like, a badass assassin, and it's an action series where he's trying to solve someone's murder. I think the trailer looks very interesting. It's got a lot of, like I say, a lot of elements from Ghost in the Shell. It's got a lot of imagery from Blade Runner.
Yeah.
I also get a lot of feelings from Bright, which is obviously the most recent Netflix film, which hasn't done too well, which I still haven't seen yet, but I need to.
That's been
So
flagged
yeah,
for a sequel as well, by the way.
I know, yeah. Oh yeah, I should have put that down too. So yeah, Altered Carbon looks great. I'm excited about it, and then we'll talk about that quickly. Bright, yeah, did get a sequel, which I guess the critical reception wasn't great.
No.
But I mean, it did get a sequel because it wasn't it like one of like highest streamed Netflix things ever.
Really?
I remember seeing that. I think so. Yeah, it was like the highest demand sort of thing.
Fair enough.
Even more than like Stranger Things and the Defenders and things. So
That's saying
yeah,
something.
so yeah, I guess I mean it did have a lot of star power. I mean you have Will Smith, who
Yeah.
I mean I love Will Smith. I think so. I'm actually really disappointed he didn't do a song for the soundtrack. Why doesn't he do songs anymore, Will Smith? He
I
should
have
do.
no idea.
He should do. I have like so many Will Smith songs on Spotify. Like Rage. You have Men in Black and Wild Wild West. All absolute tunes. He should, and especially because Bright had such an emphasis on the soundtrack, I thought they would have done.
True.
Anyway, we're going to circle back to news quickly because I don't know if you've seen what I'm on about, but I've got a couple things. One of them being that Gambit, which has just been an absolute, I don't even know, for years now. It
Shambles.
said literally yesterday, this news report came out literally yesterday that it has a filming date. Now the director has quit again.
Seriously.
Yeah, I've just seen this now. Fox, Marvel, Disney, whoever's dealing with this, drop it. Just drop the film. It's not going to work. Nobody wants it, but no one wants it. No one cares. It's not working. It hasn't worked for years. Just drop it. Seriously. Sounds like I'm talking to a dog. Drop it. Honestly. Because do you care about this film?
Not anymore.
I don't. I don't. I mean, the only thing that's ever so slightly tempting about it is Channing Tatum. in the lead role, and he's the only one who really seems enthusiastic about it because the directors certainly aren't. So, yeah, drop it, leave it. None of us care. Move on. Now, we were talking about. Oh, oh.
Sorry, no, I'll let you go on first.
I think you're probably about to say what I was about to say. Fox have announced that all of their 2018 films have got new dates.
Mm.
So I'll just say, Deadpool 2 has now been moved from June 1st, so you need to change your list now.
Oh, for God's
It's no
sake.
longer coming out in June. It's actually now coming out in May.
Okay, that's good.
So it's been pushed up to May the 18th. So that's pretty good news. I mean,
That's
one,
nice.
it means we're getting it sooner, and two, it means it must be in a pretty good position if they're ready to release it earlier.
1 week before the Han Solo movie.
Yes.
Oh no, that film's just gonna bomb in it.
Yeah, but it's also it's also put it up against Slender Man. Did you see the trailer for that?
Yeah,
It's awful.
I'm sorry, but it's 5 years too late.
Yeah, it really is, and it just looks so generic. Like, it just looks.
Yeah.
Anyway, New Mutants. Now this is the big one. New Mutants was meant to be coming out in March, I think.
Yes.
It's now been pushed back to February the 22nd of 2019.
Wow.
That is not good.
I'm surprised
What's
that just
happened?
been scrapped altogether.
What's happened? It seemed to be perfectly on track. We have a trailer, we have promotional material, we have plenty of teasers. Like on Twitter, the marketing's been very consistent.
Yeah.
What's happened here? I don't understand because they haven't come out with a statement. It's not like they've said, oh yeah, that's that. What's happening? I don't understand.
The only thing I've just seen quickly on here is just that it's not scary enough.
It did look very generic based on the trailer. I didn't like the trailer too much.
But why are they trying to make? Well, I don't understand why they want it to be scary.
Well, I mean, I can see why. I mean, well, I can't see why.
Well-
They're doing like a generic. They're trying to do like a different direction, aren't they? Where they're trying to make it different and what have you. So making
Yeah,
it
but
like
if
a
it's
horror
clearly
film.
not working, then why? Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Also, it's got a great cast, like Anya Taylor-Joy, and then it's got Maisie Williams and Charlie Heaton from Stranger Things. I just don't see what's happening. I think this has got to be more something to do with like Disney. Because this film would not fit on Disney's portfolio whatsoever.
No.
It's just such a weird thing. Because, like I said, we haven't heard any real problems with it. It seems to be perfectly on track. Like I said, the marketing. If you follow the New Mutants account on Twitter, it's very much consistently uploading stuff, like little teasers and little marketing stuff. So I just don't understand that. I guess we just have to wait for a statement, but that's really weird. So, yeah, I think that was it. I just seen all this come up within the past few minutes as you were talking there. There might have been something else. Let's check the thing I stored it on. Was there something else? No. So, yeah, that's some pretty interesting news. Slightly worrying. But Deadpool, that gives me a lot more confidence in Deadpool. I mean, I already was full of confidence anyway, but yeah.
Does that mean that probably means it will be getting a trailer soon?
Must do, yeah. I mean, we must be getting a trailer. I mean, the Bob Ross trailer came out in like December, was it? Or November?
Mind you saying that, it's the Super Bowl soon, isn't it? So that's when
Ah,
a lot of big
yeah.
films
February,
get,
isn't it? I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll get a Super Bowl trailer for sure. The only thing is for Super Bowl, I love the Super Bowl. I love waking up the morning after the Super Bowl, just having all
Just
the
to
trailers.
feast on trailers, yeah.
Because they're all there's so many that are released and they're all like 30 seconds, so it's just like you just get a half smash of all of them. Super Bowl's great. So I think that's everything.
Yeah, I could say it's been a
bumper
one this week, right?
Yeah. Been a packed, but I think a very fun episode. It's been
Definitely.
quite an entertaining one. And especially just shoehorning in that quick news at the end, but I think it's better to do it now than wait till next week when it's not really relevant anymore.
True.
So, yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode of the CineChat podcast. Hopefully you guys have noticed the fact that we have been putting up film reviews now on a pretty consistent basis. We've done reviews for films like All the Money in the World, Brad Status, Downsizing. There'll be the review for Darkest Hour on Saturday. I'll try and get that out. So yeah, if you guys are all enjoying that, then show us the support and like and comment, share with your friends. And yeah, I think like me and Nick have said for the past few weeks now, we think the future's bright for this channel. We're really gonna
Mm.
keep going with this. We really have a lot of passion for this, so we're gonna keep going, keeping with consistent uploads.
Yeah.
Nick, I believe you're gonna start uploading some videos now, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got a series in mind that I'm really, really excited about, and I'm just finishing off the details of first sort of few episodes of that, and then it's going to take quite a lot of editing from my part, which is something different for me as well.
Yeah,
But it's one of those things that I think the more time I put into it, the better the final thing's going to be. So obviously, I don't want to spill the beans too much just yet, but um, yeah, hopefully coming within the next few weeks is going to be a new series from me, and that I can't wait about.
me too. So thank you guys for listening. We hope you guys enjoyed. As always, I have been Declan,
And I have been Nick.
and we will see you guys in the next video or next week in our next episode of the podcast.
Ta-ra.
See you later.